Illegal logging has led to catastrophic decline in forests in many parts of the Asia-Pacific, and it's proving tough to stop. Australia is having a go, but two big suppliers, Indonesia and Papua New Guinea, say the law is poorly written and will have a devastating impact on trade. Liam Cochrane reports.
Illegal logging. It destroys forests, it enriches criminal syndicates, and Australia does play a role as a consumer.
Australia is the largest importer of processed timber from Papua New Guinea, where the World Bank estimates 70% of the logging is illegally conducted. Indonesia is losing more than 2 million hectares of forest per year to logging and burning.
Environmentalists have long pushed the Australian government to toughen laws that control the timber trade. Imports, though, are only a small part of the picture. About 90% of the timber used to build houses and other wooden products in Australia is grown domestically. But an estimated 5% of solid wood products is imported from high-risk countries, such as Indonesia, PNG, Malaysia and China. This month, Australia's lower house of Parliament passed the Illegal Logging Prevention Bill. The law will require that any building timber, wooden products, paper or packaging has been sourced legally, whether from Australia or elsewhere. The legislation has support from both major parties, the Greens, unions and major timber sellers.
Most simply, it's because it's the right thing to do. Australia should not be allowing the importation of or trading in illegally logged timber.
But for some Asian exporters, it's a different story.
We would prefer that the law not be passed.
While Papua New Guinea only sends a small amount of timber to Australia, Bob Tate says the impact on the industry will be devastating.
For our smaller exporters, we expect the market to virtually dry up overnight.
Bob Tate says it's a question of timber traders being able to absorb the extra costs involved in proving logs are legal. The bigger companies will probably survive, but others will be forced out.
It basically comes down to a question of can they afford to implement these very complex and very expensive schemes to prove legal compliance.
Indonesia is another key timber exporter to Australia. The Indonesian government made a submission to one of 3 Senate inquiries into the new law, urging more consultation and suggesting the bill should be delayed.
There are growing concerns expressed by Indonesian stakeholders that the implementation of the regulation may be not in line with the WTO.
Indonesia says it's committed to tackling illegal logging and wants to work with Australia on its new law. In particular, Indonesia wants Australia to recognise its relatively new timber verification system, known as SVLK, which is accepted by the European Union.
If it is not recognized, I think we will take some action. But again, until this time, we are still sure that it will be recognized.
If the law does pass Australia's upper house, the Senate, a 2-year transition period will begin, and in that time many of the details will be hammered out. The big questions are which of the 30,000 timber products would be covered by the law and what verification systems will be recognised by Australia.
Those are still issues that need to be worked through with the industry, with the government and with supplier countries such as Indonesia and Papua New Guinea.
Bob Tate says, in effect, the rule book won't be available for 2 years if and when the law passes.
That, we believe, is totally impractical and, again, will only add to market uncertainty over what is legal and what is not legal.
My understanding, certainly, of Bob's position is that he supports the principle, but he is concerned about the detail, about the procedures that are yet to be developed, about the lack of consultation that's occurred with countries like Papua New Guinea. I think they are legitimate concerns, and they are concerns which the Australian timber industry shares, and we want to work those issues through.
But the major timber sellers are embracing the change.
We don't have any concerns whatsoever. We've been through the transition 10 or so years ago of making sure that what we were procuring was legally sourced. And we've achieved the outcomes that I think can give all the regulators a great deal of confidence that consumers will be better off and the concerns for the environment will be better looked after.
The legislation is expected to be debated next month.